What's going on, guys? Tyson Brown here, and today I'm going to be interviewing Jeffrey Morgan. So they call this guy the transformation specialist. So Jeffrey, why don't you tell us about yourself and why they actually call you transformation specialist?
Pretty much been training for about 20 years,
Yep.
specialising in weight loss, and became a nutritionist, and obviously had a lot of success with a lot of clients. So a lot of people refer to me as a transformation specialist as a kid,
Yep.
growing up, because I got really good results with most of my clients. And obviously with the explosion of social media, I was able to get that out a little bit more. So
Cool. And so, did you always know nutrition was a big part since you started? Like when you were a kid, did you always focus on nutrition, or?
To be honest, growing up, I grew up in an area where probably the nutrition side of things was totally not on the agenda. I
Yep.
grew up in Redfern, in Sydney, and the habits at times I would have McDonald's or KFC for lunch. So as I started to become a trainer and become aware that the nutrition side of things would help my clients go from good to very good, was the time I started to change my mindset as to how I could get better transformations. So,
Yeah, right. And so that was part of just making a small change. Like it's not a small change, but realizing how important nutrition is. Just seeing better, like you said, better results with your clientele. Be able to get results faster and better just by taking care of what's one of the most important things you put into your body all the time.
absolutely. The biggest thing I had, more so when I was really young, I looked at the Australian health issues and the factors that sort of came into play in regards to heart disease, diabetes, cancers even.
Yep.
And then looked at added sugars, saturated fat and sodium, and then had a bit of a play around with that in my own body and a couple of friends.
Yeah.
And then I seen the results that sort of came from making those adjustments, and all of a sudden I pretty much passed that on to all my clients, and the rest was history.
Yeah, right. And so thinking about that, like, so what actually got you into training and like doing personal training? What made you decide, okay, this is the path that I want to go down?
Probably the same thing we spoke about a little bit earlier in regards to where I grew up. And,
Yeah.
my mother was Aboriginal, so the health issues within our own community made me want to sort of try and learn as much as I could and pass on to the community that I lived in. And then obviously over time that grew into a wider community, and the love of trying to get into personal training. I lost both of my parents along the way to cancers, and a lot of family, uncles, aunties, my own brother to cancer and other health issues. So I went about trying to learn as much as I possibly could.
Yeah. And now you kind of been doing it for over 20 years, so you must be still enjoying it on the way, right?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a dinosaur, so I'm getting a bit old. But yeah, I love it. I love what I do, and as I said, I think the fact that I can possibly save somebody's life,
Yeah.
and allow people to have a better quality of life with their own family and partners, walk their kids down the aisle or whatever it may be, gets me up every morning and drives me. So
It's a good positive feeling to have that, like knowing that you're changing someone's life for the better
absolutely.
and seeing the difference that, the journey that you go on with somebody to actually, make them change. And
Absolutely. Just this morning, I got a message from a client who 5 years ago we got together and obviously completed a really one of my best transformations ever.
yeah,
And that client couldn't run 50 meters, and she sent me a message and she posted it all over social media, how much she still loves me and how much I changed her life. So, and I teared up in my car when I seen the actual thing, but the post, because it means that much to me that that person may not have lived that long or enjoyed that time with their partner, and spent it on medication and other sort of things. So it's very rewarding and very satisfying.
very self-fulfilling job.
Absolutely.
And so you just said one of the biggest transformations ever. Do you want to share really quickly what type of transformation I went through?
With Rhea, who was the client, she didn't. And when I say biggest, I should say one of the most inspiring, because we ran 50 meters and she asked me could she stop, and I said, oh, all right, not a problem. We'll build it up and we'll go from there. But she lost 28 kilos over 4 months, 30 kilos over 4 months.
Whoa.
But the body shape, where she had no confidence, she was depressed at the time, her partner had said something to her to get her to that snap point and make a change, and to then see her 4 months down the track at a point where she was, and we ate 6 meals a day, didn't cut out any foods, and she looked absolutely stunning and amazing. She became an ambulance officer. She now runs marathons. So it's just an absolute 360 on her life.
Yeah, right.
And in that sense, it was massive. Client-wise, I've had clients that have lost over 130 kilos, 80 kilos, 87 kilos, massive numbers. But what I do try and pass on to all those clients is something that they can do for the rest of their life, and it's something I pass on to everyone that watches this. My advice to everybody, and it's in each to their own sort of world, by all means, try and find something that you're passionate about and make sure that you can do it for the rest of your life. That would be my question. That's my question to every client. Don't do something that you cannot do for the rest of your life, because if you can't, more than likely you'll fail and then you end up frustrated.
Yep. And you see that with people all the time. People come in and they say, this could be like in regards to exercise. People say, I hate running on the treadmill, or I hate going for a run, because they think that's the type of cardio they have to do, but they don't realise they've got swimming, they've got bike riding. Like, we get so caught up that we have to do this one certain way when there's so many different options for a person to be healthy, and they just need to find, like you said, like what they enjoy, because the more you enjoy it, the more likely you're going to stick to it, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Mate, whether it's boxing, as you said, jump in the water, punch, run, swim. That to me, whatever is going to work for you, any movement's good movement.
Yep.
Movement creates energy, and obviously over time, if you're matching your nutrition to that energy, then all of a sudden you'll see that deficit and you'll see your body start to shrink down. But more importantly, it then becomes a lifestyle that you enjoy. Yes. If you hate swimming and I tell you swimming's going to lose weight, do it every day. You might do it at the start because your enthusiasm's really high, but over time you'll find that it just, and time being probably 3 months, I've seen over the 20-year period in average, they start to decline because they just don't enjoy it. So find what you're passionate about and incorporate it into your healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. It's really cool advice. Don't forget that, guys. Yeah, try things. Don't go and try different stuff. And so going back to that, like that's probably one common mistake we see people is trying to force upon an exercise they don't enjoy. What are some other exercise things that you've noticed in the past that people make big mistakes about?
I'd say probably trying to go too hard too quickly.
Yeah.
Especially when you start out. Something I try and teach all my clients is think about a plane taking off and how slow it takes off and how long that takeoff actually takes rather than a helicopter. Because a lot of people, obviously, with that enthusiasm, your drive is right there, and it's like this. You want to get into it, and you want to lift 100 kilos, or you want to, and you've started out at 10, and next week you want to go to 100 kilos. I understand that because you've got that drive in you, you've got that passion at that moment. But the biggest thing I'd say to most people is just settle yourself down. A sprinter in the Melbourne Cup never won the race. So if that horse sprinted out for the first 500 metres, by the end of the race, it'll come last. And that's what happens, and that's where people get frustrated. They take off like this with this helicopter. After 3 months, it crashes, and then they put that weight back on, and all of a sudden they're in what I call a mouse treadmill.
Yep.
And all of a sudden they're running, and they're just getting nowhere. And over a year, the consistency in that drops off down to 25%, and your chances of success at that percentage go right down. So just do it slow and steady, and as you said, find something that you're passionate about and enjoy it. Build it up over time.
So don't try and go all in all the time. Don't try and go hard. Take off like an airplane, like you said. Take it slow and steady. And that's the thing. So is it because, like you said, it's a long-term approach too? Like we want to look at this to being able to do it for the long run. That's the most important thing, right?
Absolutely. A lot of people have this thing in their head. They want to. It's great if you lose 1.5 kilos a week. That's awesome. And if your trainer's getting that with you, absolutely awesome. But also have a look at what you're eating. So if you can't do that for the rest of your life, then more than likely once you finish that phase, you'll put that weight back on. Take your time with it and work slow and steady.
And so you just touched on that for the next question that I had. When it comes to nutrition, what are some big what's a big struggle you see people with the nutrition? Is it them trying to do the complete all-in approach and change everything, the same type of thing?
Absolutely, same type of thing. Just be patient with it. Learn a healthy lifestyle. Cutting out something more than likely that you do enjoy. Same thing, like we said before about the swimming. If you enjoy swimming, you incorporate it. If you cut that out and then all of a sudden say bike riding and you hate bike riding, it will work for that period of time and it's great and you get a great transformation picture. I will, for my social media. But in the end, long term, you end up going back to your old habits because you haven't learned something that you can implement into your life as a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. And so, can you give us an example of maybe like one time or a couple of times you've seen that when people do that in their diet? Like, would it be them trying to cut out everything they love, or would it be them just try like give me an idea about what you're talking about?
Yes, in general, I try and teach people the system I work with is more long-term lifestyle, and I tell them 80-20. Think of seesaw. If you put 80 kilos on one side, 20 on the other, the 80 kilos would end up balancing out on that side. So the 20% play doesn't mean that you go crazy every time you go every day. But in general, here and there, it's not going to hurt if you have some sauce on this or something long-term. Then structuring that, maybe a tiramisu or an ice cream or something during summer that you enjoy. But the rest of the week, you know that you're eating based around a healthy lifestyle, fresh foods, whole foods that you can sustain.
Actually, really, like that's one thing I will really work with my clients to is that 80-20 approach. Especially, you know, if you're like we look at it through the week, if you're eating, let's say, anywhere between 3 to 6 meals a day, and so let's say you were eating 3 meals a day and you ate, so that's 21 meals a week, right? And then if you look at 20% of that, which would be only a couple, like, you know, it would be, if you look at 10%, that'd be 2 or 3 meals a week. And so people just making small little increments, like having that sauce or going out for that ice cream on a Sunday night when their whole week has been consistent, that 80 is going to balance it out, right? But it's when the people try and go those binge cheat meals and they don't realise that small 20% actually all of a sudden changes into an 80%.
And that's so true. And that's the biggest issue. A lot of the times people put that moderation and turn it into just an absolute blowout. And they do really well during the week. A lot of clients at the start do this. They do really well during the week, and then they take that moderation to a whole new level over the weekend. And they go back to pretty much where they were at the start of the week. And all of a sudden they're back on that mouse treadmill again. And the frustration, once you do that, and this is what I say to a client, if you go back, let's say 1% body fat, and it takes 1 week to get 1% body fat forward, consistently, slowly, aeroplane taking off, that means you waste 2 weeks of the year just to get a balance. Then you've got to go another week to get forward, that's 3 weeks. You do that 10 times in the year and you cut out half a year. And you can see why people in the Australian public become frustrated because all of a sudden they feel that they're getting nowhere. So I'll go out and if I've been clean all week and I grab myself a gelato, I don't think about it because I know the rest of the week my lifestyle is a healthy lifestyle. And until you implement that and change that or be willing to change that and stop making excuses about work or whatever it may be, I had one piece of pizza, there's chips in the house, you will not get that change. So enjoy it, 80-20, find the right balance and you still enjoy life as well.
And so going into that, like, so give us an idea, apart from the gelato, because we're obviously trainers, we like to go and enjoy ourselves with some food. What is like a 20% food that you would like to go and enjoy once every couple of weeks or whenever you have it?
Let's say, I don't know, something. I'm a tiramisu man. Personally, I love a piece of tiramisu. So same thing. I just enjoy it. I don't think about it. Some pizza maybe here and there, very rarely though. But in general, I'll make the pizza at home myself most of the times. That's about it. And gelato probably, or some sort of chocolate.
Bit of a sweet tooth,
I don't mind salt. or an ice cream from the service station. So and the same thing, something I will touch on, and I'm not promoting it, but I know that I'm realistic too, and I know that people have a wine at home or have a wine at dinner, and I'm not telling, if you have one or two here and there, as we said, as a trainer, it's about a healthy lifestyle, whole foods, but I'm just realistic, and I know that doing it for such a period of time, I see that people want to have that in their life.
Yep.
And I say to them, all right, let's do the 80% clean, or the rest of the week super clean. On a Friday night, sit down with your husband and enjoy a wine or two, as you do.
Yep.
And let's have a look at the scales. And most of the times, the scales come down. They keep coming down and down. And the person's still enjoying that Friday night with their partner, but they've learned to eat healthy outside of that. So before that and after that, wine on a Friday night, it's all clean.
Yeah, right. That's a really good approach. I like that. Like for me, I'm not a drinker, but I tell my clients like it's not about you don't have to binge every weekend. You know, you can still go and enjoy something and just have a couple of glasses over that weekend, and you'll notice over time you can still lose that weight if you're consistent with it, right?
Absolutely. And the biggest thing with that, a lot of people push that limit and go out and have 40 drinks.
Yeah.
And no training in this world can help you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good they are. You're going to have to restrict your diet down to nothing and die during the week, literally, and be hungry and irritable, frustrated, tired, by reducing your calories so much to try and create a balance because you had 40 drinks on the weekend. Just find a nice balance and enjoy life.
It's all in the balance, guys. It's all in the balance.
100%.
And so, what are 3 to 5 things? Let's say 3 things you would recommend somebody do every day just to incorporate more healthier habits into their life. So they might already be exercising.
Yeah.
They might slowly be making changes. But what are 3 things you usually tell your clients to increment over time? Like the 3 big things that you think will start rolling that ball downhill for them.
The biggest thing, probably one of the first things I really try and work on, especially in this day and age, a lot of people tell me how they can't do this or they're too busy to do that, and they skip breakfast. They have a coffee and cigarette for breakfast, and I know a lot of people relate to that.
The Sydney breakfast, right?
Yeah, I literally try and change that habit. And even if, I say to them, even if it's 1 egg for now, and then over time, the same thing. It's almost like lifting weights. You come in, you might lift 1 kilo, and over time, progressive overload, you start to lift 10 kilos. So same with the foods. I say, to try and flip a 360, it becomes very hard because they've only had that coffee. And I say to them, all right, look, let's just work on 1 egg this week and make that your breakfast. And over time, 1 egg becomes 2 eggs, and all of a sudden you've got some avocado on the side, or whatever it may be that they're starting to implement, and make it a bigger breakfast so that they fuel their calves for the rest of the day. So when they get to work, they've got the energy to do what they've got to do. Or if they've worked out their recovery, or if they're going to work out at night, they've got fuel to do so. So
cool.
And always remember that you can't drive from here to the Gold Coast on an empty tank. We are in Sydney. So yeah, that's the biggest thing I'd say to people. Fuel your tank right from the start of the day. The other thing is try and work out early in the morning. The reason why I say that, most people become tired during the day. I found over. You get people that can train at night.
Yep.
But in general, mostly I try and get that workout, or get people to work out first thing in the morning, knock it over, and then you can keep your day along with your breakfast as well.
Yep.
And it's a good kickstart to your day, and more than likely you then get on that little mindset journey where you think, you know what, I've had a healthy start to the day, so I'm not going to eat anything bad.
I like that. I like that one. Yeah.
And the last thing I'd probably say to yourself is your mindset. I call it an invisible backpack. So we all walk around with an invisible backpack, and the stress that you carry in your life is dependent on yourself. So as soon as something goes into that backpack because it's a problem, what I do is I look at how I can fix that, and I take those steps as quickly as I possibly can. If I can't fix it, no matter how bad it was, and I'll relate my father getting cancer, it got to a point where he knew he was going to go, and it happened really quickly. I had to let it go, like the emotional. Yeah, it was my dad, and I was upset. So don't take me wrong in that sense.
Yep.
But I knew that I couldn't change it. I couldn't save him.
Yep.
And the more I got emotional about it, so I went about the last 7 weeks just enjoying every moment we possibly could together, and not worry about the fact that cancer sucked and the world. I hate the world, and I'm going to be depressed for the rest of my life. I just went, you know what? It is what it is. Let's enjoy every moment and make the most of it. So turn every negative into a positive.
Turn every negative into a positive.
And take every bit of every item you put into your invisible backpack out and deal with it as soon as possible, rather than just putting it on your back, and making your back really heavy and really tight, and obviously putting a lot of stress into your life.
Like the stress in your life, yeah. So guys, that's 3 big important things you need to think about. So starting off with breakfast, the most important thing of the day, fueling your car to make sure you can get from here to the Gold Coast or wherever you're going. Exercising in the morning too, so you can knock it out of your way, especially people, busy days and age these times. You know, if they do miss that morning exercise, a lot of people won't make that effort because they're tired in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
So knock it out. You can knock out 2 things in the morning, and the third one is making sure that you've always got positive and you're focusing on the positives. taking those negatives away or addressing them as soon as possible,
Magic.
and just accepting reality for what it is, I guess, kind of thing.
Magic. Because the heavier that backpack gets, the more it pulls you down, and all of a sudden in your life, instead of being nice and smooth, it's like you see a truck on the road, it drives really slow because it's got a heavy load on it.
Yeah.
Same thing with your life. You put more in that backpack, you end up with a heavy load. You drive a nice car with nothing in it, you fly along. You
Right.
fly past the track, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I got to have a look at my backpack and see what's been slowing me down lately. And so there are three big things that you recommend people focus on. So what's one key essential thing like that you do every day in your life? Is there one thing like 365 days a year or pretty close to that you would like say is one crucial thing you have to do?
The biggest thing I do is at the end of every day, just before bed, I write down what I need to do the next day, including whether it's trained PT clients.
Yep.
Simple, and I put it next to the bed. The reason why I do that, it takes it out of my head, the same thing.
Okay.
And it just does. I don't think about it. I know I've got a diary as well to sort of pretty much show me, but writing it down and then writing down underneath that what I wanted to do this week or that day to get me further from or personal development wise or business or whatever it may be in your life forward from where I am. So by writing it down, you actually see it. And the way I relate it, if you want to go from here to Bondi or a distance, let's say it's 50 k's away, and you've never been to that area before.
Yeah.
I say, all right, what we're going to do is, Tyus, I'll get you to drive there. You got no GPS. I'll take the GPS. I'll get there and I'll get to that street a lot earlier than you will.
Yeah.
You might get there by asking people, but it will just take you a lot longer. So writing it down gives you that guidance system to know exactly what you need to do the next day and takes the stress off your head and you'll sleep better. Believe it or not, you'll actually sleep a lot better.
Yeah, right. And the thing with that, guys, use pen and paper. Don't use a computer because if you get that computer on your face all night, you're not going to sleep good.
Absolutely. Great tip.
Simple pen and paper tip. And so, do you have a favourite quote?
Excuses are the nails that built the house of fire. It's on the front of my website. One thing I try and pass on to clients and I pass on to everybody as well is people have this, let's say it was a computer program or program. Everyone's programmed a particular way, the way they've grown up. And as soon as something may get tough or they always come up with an excuse and they refer back to that's their go-to. So they go back and say, oh yeah, I got work today, so I can't do it. What I want you to do is when it comes to that point, challenge yourself on that roundabout instead of taking that left turn off to Nowhereville. Challenge yourself and keep going past that turn off and go towards success, because the more you just keep telling yourself that excuse and allowing you, the more you enable yourself to just be unaccountable, and all of a sudden, whatever you're trying to achieve in life will just take forever. You'll never get there if you keep using that excuse. Challenge yourself and try for 1 week not to use one excuse for anything. Don't tell them about, I was late for, it was because of work, or I was just cop it on the chin, be accountable to yourself, and watch the difference. You'll start to see a lot more progress, and you'll feel a lot more uncluttered and a lot better about yourself as well.
Okay. So taking that responsibility and just saying, pretty much being responsible for everything, right?
100%.
So I guess in saying that, like everything you've shared with today, people could take responsibility for their breakfast, and for the 1 week coming up, they could say, all right, I'm gonna wake up a little bit earlier, and I'm gonna have that egg, or I'm gonna have whatever it is, and taking responsibility and saying I'm not having time, or I don't have time to exercise. Just saying it's in your control and being able to do it.
Absolutely, because if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way. That's a common sort of saying in the fitness industry. And I relate it to clients. If for whatever reason you were down on a hiking track and you slid down and there was no one around and you were hanging on to the side of the cliff, you had to get yourself up. How hard would you fight to survive? And you would fight tooth and nail, even if there was cactus there and you were pulling yourself up and it was ripping your arms apart. You would not care. You would get yourself up there. So you got to prioritize everything, and by writing it down and having that structure, you're able to then put that into play and execute that plan a lot easier, and things will fall into place when you do it consistently as well. So
yeah, and consistency is another big key thing, right?
massive. So
yeah,
you can't no relationship will last if you give it 1 day a week worth of effort.
Yep.
No job if you're meant to work 5 days a week but only show up 1 day a week. No boss will keep you. So the same thing applies to a healthy lifestyle. It should be for the rest of your life. So if you're doing the 80-20 and you're giving 80% of the time towards that healthy lifestyle, and still enjoying that 20% because that's part of it, then success will come your way.
Very cool. So guys, you got an action step, right? You write down for the rest of this coming week, you're going to write it down every single night and say tomorrow, like so you said, write down what you're going to do the next day. Write it down that you're going to have a healthy breakfast, you're going to exercise every morning, and then just take responsibility for the whole week.
Magic.
Is that a pretty good action step?
Absolutely. Even if you know, like, it's something that you do even go to work, write it down because as much as it sounds crazy, it just takes it off your head and just try it for 1 week and have a look at the end of the week how you've slept and how you feel when you go to sleep. You just declutter your brain and you'll feel a lot better. You know, you can wake up and have a look at it. I'll just wake up, have a look at it while I'm having a tea, and then all of a sudden things are a lot easier.
That's very cool. And if you try for a week and you don't like it, you can go back, right?
Absolutely.
Try everything. Be open and willing to experiment.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate you coming on today and talking to me, Jeffrey. So why don't you tell us more about yourself? Like, you know, what are you got anything coming in the works, or what have you been doing lately you want to share with people?
At the moment, I'm currently building an app related to the health and fitness industry. The idea, I had my own TV show as well, based around the same sort of concept, where it was just more about a healthy lifestyle and long-term sustainability to improve the overall health of Australia, and hopefully through the app, especially in this day and age with technology, I'll be able to impact the world on in regards to a health sort of issue, addressing health issues. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, cool. And so you just mentioned TV show. Is there anywhere people can go back and watch that or find anything about it?
Yeah, it's on. You go back and you go to SBS online.
Yep.
And the episodes are there. It's Jeffrey's healthy tips, and pretty much click on, type that in, and you'll pretty much be able to. I'm pretty sure watch that. I'm not sure if you have to download it.
Okay, so I'm going to put all that in the show notes too, guys, so you can get the links to the TV show, and also keeping up to date with the app. Is that just them following your website and following your Instagram?
Absolutely. Stay tuned for it.
Yep.
It will take some time because it is in the development stage, and we are putting a lot of time and effort into it. Hopefully it'll be out sooner rather than later.
Yep.
But stay tuned on Instagram, on any of my social media sort of outlets, and I'll keep you up to date.
And what are your social media outlets, Jeffrey, so people can actually come and follow you?
So on Facebook, I've got All Stars Personal Training.
All Stars Personal Training, which is the gym,
business,
which
yep.
is the bit. Yep.
And then you have on Instagram, I'm under Jeffrey Morgan, All Stars PT.
All Stars PT. So I'm going to share with all that with you guys in the show notes. So make sure you can click on the links down below where you can find Jeffrey and all those things, and hopefully keep up to date with him. So I really appreciate you coming along today, Jeffrey.
Champion, mate.
Guys, take action. Write it down every night, and for 1 week, I want you to take responsibility for everything you're doing. Get your morning breakfast and get in morning exercise.
Champion, mate.
Thanks, guys.